Hello enthusiasts, and welcome to this new video from the website www.moonwatch.fr. Today I'm going to talk to you about a pleasant horological surprise I had following the purchase of my Glycine Combat Sub Bronze. The Swiss Glycine watch, Combat Sub Bronze, is a slim automatic diving watch with a bronze case. A true tool watch, this Combat Sub is robust and highly legible, and above all, its price is affordable. Since its founding by Eugène Mélan in 1914, Glycine has continued to produce beautiful pieces in its factory in Biel. A watchmaking engineer, uncompromising, who sought perfection, Mélan had a deep understanding of market demands and the possibilities offered by the technological advancements of his time. A century has passed, and more than 100 years after the launch of its first watch, Glycine, the spirit of Mélan, endures. The Glycine watchmaking manufacturer creates distinctive timepieces based on the unique DNA developed by Mélanie. Today, Glycine is recognized as one of the pioneers in designing aviation watches for pilots and travelers. Its most well-known model, the Hermann, has equipped many aviators. I'm not quite sure if we should say Hermann or Hermann. I tend to say Hermann, by the way. Since its creation in 1994, Glycine has remained a family business that has always been led by charismatic entrepreneurs passionate about exceptional solutions in the industry. Swiss watchmaker. Recently acquired by the American company Invicta Watch Group, the watchmaking manufacturer Glycine is still led by charismatic, passionate entrepreneurs who assemble quality watches. There have been many doubts about the survival of the Glycine brand following the acquisition by Invicta, and also many doubts regarding the quality of the watches that would be produced after the acquisition. I immediately reassure enthusiasts, Glycine remains a watch. Frankly, I will qualify it as premium even if the price is affordable, because the quality of the products is exceptional. Regarding the technical specifications of this Glycine Combat Sub Bronze, 42mm, it was produced in 2020. It's a men's watch, its case is made of bronze and the case back is steel. It is equipped with the GL224 caliber, automatic, which is based on an ETA 282-422, so a relatively robust and proven movement. The power reserve is stated to be 38 hours. It is a waterborne watch, waterproof up to 200 meters. So we are looking at a true diving watch. The unidirectional bezel has 120 clicks. We will see later that this bezel is of very good quality. Even my Rolex, I find that the bezel on the Glycine is better than that of my Rolex. From my Submariner C610, 6 there is also a screw-down crown, signed with the Glycine logo. The glass is a flat sapphire crystal with 3 layers of anti-reflective coating. Now, you might see some glare because I have the spotlight, my ring light, directly on it. So inevitably, it doesn't eliminate them, but the treatment is truly incredible. The diameter is 42mm with a thickness of less than 11mm, precisely 10.6mm, making it a very, very thin watch. The strap is made of calf leather with a pattern, and a relatively standard lug width of 22mm. There is only one complication, the date complication, located here at 3 o'clock, and the reference number of this watch is GL0187. Let's now talk about the case, the bezel, and the crown of this Glycine Combat Sub. First of all, the case of the Glycine Combat Sub Bronze watch measures 42mm in diameter and is barely 10.6mm thick. So the watch is thin. And this size will perfectly suit the majority of men, 42mm. This is something we find quite frequently. Generally, the current trend oscillates between 40 and 43mm buttocks, and here we are at 42. It's quite reasonable. In this version, the case is entirely made of bronze, which allows it to develop a patina over time. I bought this model solely because I was looking for an automatic bronze watch, diver style at an affordable price. I had never had a bronze watch before. I really wanted a bronze case, so I thought, why not? I had an opportunity to get the watch at a not very expensive price, so I decided to try it. Honestly, a very, very pleasant surprise, probably my best watch-related surprise of the entire year 2020. We'll come back a little later to the price, but the bronze case is very, very well crafted. The patina. Well, mine has a natural patina, so the watch is about a month old now. You can see the case has developed a beautiful patina. It's really starting to take on a very nice patina, ranging from a copper color to a brown color, with a little bit of verdigris, typical of bronze cases. So something very, very, very nice. The watch is really very well made. The case is very well crafted. The perfect shape, and especially 10.6mm thick. It's a really very, very, very thin watch. So as I was saying, it's a watch with a bronze case. As a result, the color of the case will be unique. It will vary over time and with the level of oxidation of the bronze. The colors will range from bronze to copper, to gray, to green, to brown. A mix, a little bit of all these shades, depending on the different activities you do, whether the watch goes in water, in seawater or not, with sweat, transparency and so on. The case will truly personalize itself and become almost unique in terms of shades. It's impossible to have two identical patinas on a case. Personally, I love that, and it's really what made me want to buy this model, this bronze case, knowing that I would get a unique patina on it. So, for the case, here's the insert. Now, the insert is in black aluminum. It features various numbers and several markers, as well as a superluminova pearl. It's a 120-click unidirectional bezel. The bezel is extremely pleasant to use. You see, I'll bring it closer for the sound. The sound is very pleasant. So, 120-click unidirectional bezels, with knurling on the bezel for excellent grip. This is also very, very appreciable. The bezel is very well finished. Look, there's no play in it. No backlash. That's just incredible. Even my C610 doesn't have that level. I'm not even talking about the Yema watches, which for me are the biggest disappointment of the year. Well, now I'm waiting for the new bronze GMT. I preferred the pre-order. But well, I think I'm going to be 1, disappointed with their movement, and 2, disappointed with the build quality. Here on this Glycine is just perfect. Honestly, it's incredible. Really, not even a quarter of a millimeter of play in the bezel. There are few who can boast of being like that. Next, the crown. The crown is a screw-down crown, so screw down. It is signed with the Glycine watch logo. Excellent grip. As a result, setting the time and date is very easy. I'm not sure, however, if the crown is made of bronze. That's something to verify. I have a reservation, I'm not sure. I have the impression that it is developing a patina, that it is starting to take on a patina, so the crown might be bronze, but without certainty. Finally, the presentation of the case is complete. The case back is made of steel to avoid allergy issues, as bronze on the skin can be problematic. It's not too common, so the case is made of hypoallergenic stainless steel, which ensures the watch is water resistant up to 200 meters. It should be noted that this case back is beautifully decorated. We find the 2 sea elephants or seals, I'm not quite sure what they are, I think they are sea elephants, made of wisteria. We also find the mentioned combat and various information related to the watch. The extended watch, Glycine Combat Sub Bronze, has a rather busy dial, but it remains very readable. The Swiss watchmaker Glycine chose to use a black-gray gradient for its dial. You can see the black starting at 6 o'clock and transitioning to a dark gray. At noon, so the gradient is very, very nice. When I bought the watch, I hadn't noticed it was a gradient. It's true that I tend to prefer dials in a solid color, but here the color suits the model well. I'm going to wipe the glass a little. Their dial is really very, very beautiful. It is both original and visually pleasing. Original, why? Because the indices are quite large, even the hour indices. We'll talk about that a little later. We find the brand's logo above the center of the watch with the name Glycine. And we find the reference Combat Automatic sub 20 ATM just above 6 o'clock. Then a date window has been positioned at 3 o'clock. The font of this date window is white on a black background, making it very readable. You can tell that Glycine really paid special attention to the design of this combat sub, since the white border, the white frame of the date is coated with Luminova. As a result, even in the dark, the date is readable. That's something I had never seen before. I find that really ingenious. It's very, 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 very well thought out. Next, we find a railroad track. Gilt, so golden in color, all around the dial, with the Swissmet mentioned also in gilt. The indices are gold-circled indices that are covered with superluminova. In terms of readability, at night, it is excellent. I always take Seiko as a reference in terms of readability in the dark, but here, Glycine has used an ultra-powerful reflective product. At night, the watch is like a real flashlight. Additionally, there's a Luminova pearl, the date window, which is also illuminated. The hands, obviously, are frankly very, very readable in the dark. What else can we say about that? The duration of the superluminova is quite adequate. Frankly, where I am on the same level as Seiko, it's very pleasant. Glycine has really well designed its dial. You can tell it was well thought out. Regarding the hands, they are also bronze colored, coated with Luminova. As a result, very readable in the dark, no problem reading the time. The hour hand is round with a point. It has exactly the same diameter as the hour markers. And that it threw me off a little at first. I'm not going to show you. I'm used to having smaller markers and an hour hand with a slightly larger diameter, like the Mercedes hands from Rolex. And so it threw me off a little at first. Well, let me reassure you, you get used to it quickly, but initially you do need to get the hang of it. The minute hand is quite traditional, and you'll notice a red second hand that contrasts with this dark dial. Finally, to protect the whole thing, Glycine has chosen a flat sapphire crystal, coated with 3 layers of anti-reflective coating. The anti-reflective treatment does its job well, nothing to say about that. Once again, a very, very beautiful design by Glycine, just like the case. The dial is very well thought out, very readable. I didn't mention it, but we also find the PM lasers on the dial. Honestly, it's very ingenious, a beautiful design. This Swiss automatic watch, Glycine Combat Sub Bronze, houses a GL224 caliber. It's a movement based on an ETA 28242 or a Sellita SW201. It's a Swiss 3-hand movement that offers a complication. Date at 3 o'clock. Furthermore, this Swiss movement has more than 38 hours of power reserve, which is quite adequate for a diver's watch. The frequency is 28,800 beats per hour, so a movement with a frequency, a mid-frequency, so to speak. We can also add that the caliber uses a 1K block type shock absorption system. This is quite common in these ranges, obviously based on the 2824. Finally, the GL224 movement, and more specifically its rotor, are beautifully decorated. So I can't show it to you here on the video since there's the case back, but well, Glycine, even though the movement is not visible, has chosen to go the extra mile to decorate and personalize the movement, even though it is not visible. You can really feel that they have put a lot of attention into the design and execution of the movement. It's a small invisible detail, but it emphasizes the quality of Glycine watches. Due to its thinness, less than 11mm nonetheless, I expected the watch. Glycine. Combat sub fits perfectly on the wrist. Well, it didn't disappoint. The watch fits super well on the wrist, you see. It is extremely comfortable to wear. It's actually the thinness, the highly competitive price, and the fact that the case is made of bronze that made me choose it. This watch slides compared to other watches in the box. Competition. I hesitated with a Yema, with an Oris, with one or two other models as well, which were all more expensive and not necessarily of better quality. The Oris is about the same thickness. The Yema is much thicker. It was 13mm if I remember correctly. The 10mm, it's a really very, very thin watch. You see on my wrist the 42mm fits very, very well. It's neither too much nor too little. It's just right. To continue, the Glycine Combat Sub comes with a black calf leather strap with a lizard skin pattern whose quality is quite respectable. The leather strap is of good quality. Well, it's not the best leather strap I've had, but it's quite acceptable considering the price of the watch. However, the buckle used, the Ardillon buckle, which fastens the strap, is too large. I find that this buckle is too coarse, it looks too big, especially since this buckle is not made of bronze, it's made of steel. As a result, it doesn't exactly match the shade of the crown and the case. You see, it's more of a copper color. That's a bit unfortunate, this difference in shade. Obviously, we couldn't have a bronze buckle for hypoallergenic reasons. But matching the shade to that of the case would have been a plus. Well, it's not very, very serious, it's just a tiny detail, but a slightly more discreet buckle would have been preferable. What can we say? We find a Glycine inscription on the buckle, pin buckle, once again. The Glycine manufacturer, they care about detail, so it extends to the buckle, which is engraved. Since the watch is relatively thin, you can easily put it on a NATO strap. It's a diving watch and the NATO strap fits perfectly. The lug width measures 22mm, so there's no compatibility issue or difficulty in finding a replacement strap, or whether it's a NATO leather or rubber strap. No problem at all. I also wear it on rubber and I find it very comfortable on a rubber strap. I wear it on NATO and I also find that very comfortable aesthetically. It also fits well. It's very, very nice. Nothing to complain about. I even have a friend who wears the watch on a type of strap. NASA, so a Velcro strap, and it's also very nice. So, no problem on that front. Finally, before finishing on the movement, regarding the wearing comfort, I want to point out that you don't feel the movement at all. That is to say, you can move, you can wear the watch while doing your activities, and you never feel the oscillating weight. Once again, for me, it shows the quality of the components used in the movement and in the overall design of the watch. And above all, it shows the care taken by the Glycine manufacturer in the design and assembly of its timepiece. As expected, the Glycine manufacturer has taken great care with the packaging of its timepiece. So I'm sorry I won't be able to show you the box because I don't have it at home. I went to my parents' place. As a result, I can't show you the box. In any case, one thing is certain. This Glycine Combat Sub comes in a very beautiful black box featuring the Swiss brand's logo. Obviously, the logo with the Glycine inscription. The presentation of the watch is worthy of more premium brands. Honestly, we're on the level of Breitling Omega. It's another very pleasant surprise regarding the packaging. Regarding the price, it's also a very pleasant surprise. The retail price of this Glycine Combat Sub Bronze is €1150. But, because there's a but, you can easily find this watch for less than €600. Brand new, directly from Glycine. So, once again, €600 for a watch of this completely Swiss quality with beautiful packaging and impeccable finishes. It's difficult to find anything cheaper on the market with equivalent specifications. I don't know of any brand that offers a watch of this quality, with a bronze case, a movement based on an ETA 2824. With so much care put into the watch, Glycine has done a great job. Regarding availability, no problem finding a Glycine Combat or a Glycine Combat Bronze. In fact, they are even available on Amazon. I'll put the links below in the description. Steel models of this Glycine Combat are available and they are cheaper than the bronze model. The steel models can be found new, around 400–420 euros on sites like Drop. Massdrop mainly, that's the only site that comes to mind. One small thing though, if you buy from these sites, remember that you will have customs fees. This watch with the customs fees cost me 550 euros, and out of those 550 euros I had 130 euros in customs fees. So, you see, you have to take that into account when purchasing if you buy from abroad. I know there are European sellers who offer very competitive prices, so don't hesitate to compare. Finally, for those with a slightly more limited budget, it is also possible to find used Glycine Combat Sub watches for less than 300 euros. However, it won't be easy to find them because the watches sell very quickly, and there aren't many available. Because when people have these watches, Glycine, generally they don't resell them because they are truly excellent watches. The value for money is unbeatable, let's be honest. Well, it's quite complicated to find them used. Especially if you're looking for a bronze one, it's going to be even more complicated, but it's possible. So, you have to be patient. And don't hesitate to scour sales sites like eBay, Le Bon Coin, etc. Let's now move on, in my opinion, to this automatic watch. Glycine Combat Sub Bronze. My collection was missing a watch with a bronze case. I hesitated for a long time to get myself a Yema Superman Bronze and finally decided to go for this Glycine Combat Sub. Because the watch is much thinner, 10.6mm compared to 13mm for the Yema, it costs less, under 600 euros, whereas the Yema is above 800–850 euros. And above all, it seemed much more qualitative to me than the French watch. Because I have already had Yema watches and the new ones. Yema, I was particularly disappointed with the watch's design and quality. When you took the crown, it felt like it was going to come off. Maybe it was just bad luck, but I experienced this issue with several watches. So I preferred to go for a Swiss watch for this Glycine Combat Sub. Despite the acquisition of the Glycine brand by Invicta, I am very happy. At first I was quite skeptical because Invicta makes watches, let's say, not of bad quality, but it's entry level. For me, it's just slightly above Chinese watches, or maybe not even above. It's the equivalent of Chinese watches. It's often very crude, heavily inspired by well-known models. These are watches, tributes to Invicta mainly. That doesn't bother me too much, but it's mainly the level of quality that is rather mediocre. Here, with this Combat Sub, we are very much above Invicta. For me, we are dealing with premium watches. This is equivalent to a watch like the new Oris models. Honestly, the watch, its retail price is 1150 euros. It's a watch worth 1150 euros or even more. So, the fact that you can find it for 600 euros is clearly a big advantage. This watch is an excellent surprise. I am very satisfied with this watch. This Swiss Glycine watch is perfect in every way. Lightweight, not too thick, ultra readable both day and night. And above all, a super affordable price. No Swiss watch at this level of quality, at the same level of quality, is offered at a price like that of the Glycine. At 600 euros you will find nothing. It's at least double. For example, the Horus, it will be around 1200 euros. Here, frankly, Glycine has done very well. For at least 600 euros, you have a genuine diving watch, waterproof up to 200 meters, with a bronze case. So it will develop a beautiful patina, a unique patina, which you can remove with a little touch of. I also use it if you don't like it. The case will take on shades of brown, copper, gold, grey, green. It's truly magnificent. I love it. I wanted a bronze one, mainly for that reason. There are very few automatic watches that offer 200 meters of water resistance, less than 11 mm thickness, for 600 euros. Moreover, this Glycine Combat Sub bronze watch is pleasant to wear and aesthetically it is very successful. The dial is very beautiful. The indices are very luminous. It's truly a beautiful tool watch. And for me, it was the pleasant surprise of this watch. This year, 2020, the year isn't over, but it remains an excellent surprise. To conclude, I would say that this Glycine Combat Sub Bronze is a timepiece that deserves to be known. Glycine is a brand that is not very well known. It is rarely mentioned on forums. In videos, on YouTube. And it's a shame because it truly is a beautiful watch. Swiss-made, with good design, and a manufacturing quality worthy of the big names in Swiss watchmaking. And all of this offered at a very aggressive price. In short, pure joy. Before we part ways, feel free to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. It gives us a little boost. Click on the thumbs up as well. You can always visit our website www.moonwatch.fr, where you will find reviews of our watches. You can also follow us on social media, namely Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And I'll see you soon for the next video.